So in the massive fiscal 2021 spending bill and coronavirus relief package that Congress voted on, lawmakers actually were able to address a number of issues that had been ongoing related to the pandemic and unrelated. The major one was that lawmakers on both sides of the aisle wanted to address the fact that the pandemic has left many people unconnected to the internet, either because they weren't able to afford internet access in the first place, or they were laid off or furloughed as a result of the pandemic and thus were no longer able to afford their internet access. And so what Congress did was included in the relief package $3.2 billion for the FCC to establish a new emergency broadband benefit of $50 a month for low-income families or recently laid off and jobless workers. The provision was based on legislation by Senator Ron Wyden, a Democrat from Oregon, and Representative Mark Vesey, a Democrat from Texas. Another thing that lawmakers wanted to address before the end of the year was funding for small and rural internet providers who are going to be required in the new year by the FCC to remove equipment in their networks that is made by Chinese companies Huawei and ZTE, which have been labeled national security threats by the intelligence community. So this was a process that was going to cost about $1.6 billion at the very least, and these companies don't have that kind of money. So the FCC asked Congress to provide funding to reimburse them for those costs. Congress ended up giving them $2 billion, and because Chairman Ajit Pai of the FCC had said that the process could end up taking a much longer time. And then a third thing that was in the spending bill that I think is notable because we are experiencing this cyber attack that has affected federal agencies and private companies is that Congress provided the Homeland Security Department's Cybersecurity and Infrastructure Security Agency, known as CISA, with $2 billion. And that's about the same as CISA got last year, but half of this money would go towards protecting federal civilian networks. And the agency was also given $45 million to help state and local governments with election security efforts, which is something that they had requested throughout the year. So Congress was able to address some things that had been sticking points throughout the year, some unfinished business, and sort of set up a number of things to happen in 2021.